Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm wearing the same cardigan as the first video. For this video I thought I would do 10 records that are the cornerstones of your collection, or 10 records that define your taste and who you are. So to start with, let's go back to 2004. Takes me back to being 12 years old, and that is Green Day's American Idiot. This is, if you don't know, a concept album about a guy who runs away from home and meets various different characters and eventually comes back home, changed person, I think. Very much influenced by old concept albums like The Who's Tommy. This made waves on MTV with various music videos back in the day. It sparked off an interest in albums as a complete thing to be listened from front to back, because 2 of the songs are 9 minutes long and they're in various different parts and there's loads of characters, and it made music seem more interesting than the 3-minute pop song, and led me to search out music that was more story based and more interesting. Number 2 is Dream Theater's 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. This blew my mind at the time. I found this somewhere online when I was maybe 13 and found the track listing kind of daunting, because the first song is 13 minutes long, then 9 minutes, then 9 minutes, then 13 minutes, then 4 minutes. Then there is one song that is 45 minutes long, split into 6 or 7 parts. Progressive metal. Each part in that one song that's 45 minutes long is based on a mental illness, so that's why it's called 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. There's 6 different mental illnesses featured: post-traumatic stress, schizophrenia. And it was just nothing that I'd ever heard before. That much music and technical power. Number 3, R.E.M's Automatic for the People. Everybody Knows, Everybody Hurts, Man on the Moon. These are all songs that have been on the radio, I presume, back in the 90s. I think this one got me because it's very melancholic, and I don't know, the R.E.M. have songs that sound almost like nostalgia feels. I don't know what that's about. It's just a feeling. Number 4, also on the melancholic trip, is Lightbulb Sun by Porcupine Tree. This is the 2008 reissue on Tone Float. I think I found Porcupine Tree through Dream Theater and through forums and progressive metal stuff, but this isn't progressive metal really. It's got more elements of psychedelia than metal. This was just before they got into metal properly. Russia on Ice is a 13-minute epic song, which I think is about alcoholism, or that's what I took from it. Lots of songs about loss and basic, she's moved on. Songs about girls, I guess. There's one song on here called Last Chance to Evacuate Planet Earth, which I think is based on a cult that believed that if they killed themselves they would be free, because the Earth was gonna go, which it probably will one day, with the world as it is today. Okay, next up, with The Queen is Dead, The Smiths. This was the first album I'd ever heard by The Smiths. I didn't know what they were about, I just pressed play and I think it changed my life, for the better or worse. My favourite track is track 3, I Know It's Over, because it spoke to me at a time when I felt lost. I think that The Smiths have equal parts joy and sadness. The music is very joyful. Songs like The Boy with a Thorn in His Side, Jingly Jangle guitar riffs by Johnny Marr, and the sadness of Morrissey's lyrics, which can also be quite funny as well, which I think is he's not credited for, as people have said before. This has recently had a proper deluxe box set edition with demos and a live thing. Not enough video content with that, sadly. Although everything that you can find on the Smiths video-wise is online somewhere. Next up is David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. A classic album. This is one where I didn't know what I was getting myself into either. I just pressed play and was transported on a moon age daydream, as you could say. You've just got to experience it. I have no words. Next up is King Crimson, In the Court of the Crimson King. This has a crazy cover. There to scare all children everywhere. This is progressive jazz rock, progressive rock with lots of jazz. It's where progressive rock really kicked off in 1969, I presume, for I was not there. Probably everyone knows this album, just as they probably know the last few albums, but I'm just saying this has shaped my listening. Next up, Sigur Ros' Valtari. I'm not sure exactly how I came across this. I think I found the music videos that were released at the time for each song, and I was sat at work by myself and I put one on and it just filled the room with atmosphere. This is a very relaxing album with very little disturbance. There's bits where it gets louder and louder and louder, which kind of is also atmospheric as well. It rises and falls. It's by the end of it, it's very like calming, and you could maybe fall asleep to it. Next up is Genesis, Selling England by the Pound. This sparked my interest in Peter Gabriel. His voice really spoke to me with its emotion. I feel like he has a very raw, emotional voice, and his lyrics are very bizarre and filled with English wit and humour in this album and the next one, which is also good. That's The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. This is here because this is what kicked me off, but I very much love his solo albums and his live DVDs, especially Live in Athens. Lastly, a recent one, Future Island Singles. Now every song on this, after a few listens, does sound like a single. It's kind of dancey, it's kind of nostalgia sounding, if that's even a thing. Seasons is the big song on here that was on Jules Holland a few years ago and kicked off a lot of recognition for these guys, thanks to their frontman Sam, who dances like nobody's watching. This album is also kind of has a nostalgia feel in some of the lyrics and sounds. It's 10 albums that I feel have defined me. I'm sure that they'll change all the time because taste is a revolving door. But for me, that's them now. I just wanted to give you an idea of the sort of records that I like, and I'm begging you to, anyone who's watching, recommend me anything that you think I might like based on what you've seen here. I think that's it for me. Thank you for watching if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.